Hello, good day, and welcome to this session on warehouse processes. At the end of the session, you should be able to explain the receiving process, the methods of order processing, as well as explain cross-docking. So, there are several processes that take place. There are several processes that goods, raw materials, finished goods, sub-assemblies, components, and parts go through when they move into a warehouse, and some of these processes are what we are going to discuss in this session. One of the first process that is going to be discussed is preparation. So a warehouse, in a typical warehouse, one of the processes that take place in the warehouse is preparation, in the sense that goods have to be in an acceptable format for transportation, for storage, for retrieval, for all the other processes to be successful. So one key process is that goods are prepared, they are labeled, they are properly packaged, and then they are put in an acceptable form so that they can be stored or moved from one point to another in the warehouse, or so that all the other warehouse operations can be effectively and efficiently performed on the goods in the warehouse. The second process is receiving. So at the focal firm's warehouse, they receive goods from the suppliers, and then at the customer's warehouse too, they receive goods in the form of finished products from the focal firm. And so the warehouse manager has to ensure that the goods that they are receiving is the goods that were ordered for. So the goods have to come with the proper accompanying documents like the waybill, which has to be checked against the purchase order, and then any other invoices that the suppliers would come with. The receiving officer or the warehouse manager has to ensure that all the information on these documents are matching, or they are consistent with each other before they receive the goods finally in the warehouse. Then offloading is also a key activity or a key process that takes place in the warehouse, because when goods come in trucks, before they can be received in the warehouse, they have to be offloaded to the receiving deck at the warehouse. So that is also another key process that takes place in the warehouse. Then checking. So after the goods have been offloaded at the receiving or the loading deck, you have to check the goods for quality. You have to check the goods against the requirements that were necessitated for the goods to be brought in the first place before you can put them away in the warehouse for either storage or for usage. So this is also another process that takes place in a typical warehouse, and it has to be done with caution, or it has to be done carefully. Then there is also cross-docking. Cross-docking is usually done in distribution centers, and it is a process where products are moved directly from the goods in or the loading bay to the dispatch bays. So in cross-docking, there is no need for storage. So let's take a full truck that is coming from US to Ghana, but some of these goods have to be moved from let's say the Tama port to Tamale. Some of these have to be moved to Kumasi. Some of these have to be moved to Takrady. What cross-docking does is that when the goods or the truck, the container that is coming from China, when it arrives at the dock, at the distribution center, there are people who do sortation. So they sort these goods based on the locations that they are going to. Then they reload these goods into the various destination trucks. So we have the truck that has come from US at the loading dock. Then we have people who are sorting it. They sort it and immediately dispatch them into trucks that are ready to move them to the various destinations. And that is basically what the function of cross-docking does, and it's usually done at what we call distribution centers. Another process is put away. So after the goods have been offloaded and they have been checked for or against whatever criteria that you are checking them against. You have to put them away or store them onto the acceptable storage means. So if you're using pallets, you just put them on the pallet and then you stack them at the various racks in the warehouse. So that is what put away does. And then order picking. So when you have goods in the warehouse and then customer orders are received, they have to be fulfilled. You have to process these orders, and that is one key process that takes place in the warehouse, where you retrieve customer orders from the various goods that you have in the warehouse, and then you put them together and then fulfill these customer orders. And it should be noted that there are certain methods involved in picking customer orders. The first one to be discussed is zone picking. So with the zone picking, the order picker or the warehouse staff is assigned to a specific zone, and they would only realize order picking within the zone. So let's say the warehouse is into the storage of stationery or grocery items. Let's take a typical supermarket. When customer orders are received, and then with the zone picking, maybe we position people at maybe groceries, we position people at stationaries, we position people at various destinations, so that the person at the zone is only required to pick items that are found on the customer orders, and then those that are found in their zone. So maybe the customer requires several line of items. With zone picking, if you are a zone picker, you are only required to pick the ones that are found in your zone, and no more, no less. And then the second one is the batch picking. The batch picking is where the customer or the pickers pick items in batches. So you receive customer orders comprising several line of items. Batch picking is where you pick you consolidate all customer orders. Let's say 5 customers want a specific item. You are required to pick all those items, then you send it to the deck or the counter, then you sort them and make them available to the customers. Then we have wave picking. So wave picking combines both the zone picking and the batch picking to fulfill customer orders effectively and efficiently. And another process that takes place in the warehouse is replenishment. So when goods are finished, or when organization or the warehouse runs out of goods, they have to be restocked onto the shelves, so they have to be restocked in the warehouse, and that is what we call replenishment. Replenishment ensures that goods are kept flowing in the warehouse, and it helps to ensure or maintain efficient orders. Then we have what we call packing or packaging. So packaging helps to protect the goods in the warehouse, and then they put protection as well as labels on the products in the warehouse. The protection is to secure the goods, and the labels are also help to provide easy identification of goods that are kept in the warehouse.